have going into the dressing room now?
I think as well, Martin, you have to look at the substitutions he made. Marlon coming on offensive, Buendia coming on offensive. So I think that maybe should have been the signal to Arsenal is like, right, let's shut up shop now because they're.
What you're saying is here, the game management wasn't quite right for Arsenal.
No, not when we got into like 80. I think once you get into 85 minutes, you start getting past that. Martin will know more. Obviously, being a manager, knows what he wants to take in that moment. I think that Arsenal go in there. Let's face it, Villa with the chances they had, they could have won the game with the chances they had. I think you then say, right, let's take what we've got now and get back to London, Mark.
I have the utmost regard for you, Red, but here's my point. I think some players have to take responsibility. You mentioned Madueke should have run it into the corner.
Yeah.
These are the type of things. The manager would be encouraging him to do exactly that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're talking about the man management there, or the game management time, then sometimes it's not down just to the manager. He would have been shouting those, although Madueke wouldn't have been able to have heard him, but he would have been shouting, take it to the corner.
So your point is players on the pitch at that point should take responsibility.
I think you know this. These are not young players anymore. You should know this. You know the last 5 minutes of a match is going to be very tight. You'll know what the manager's thinking. He will have taken the draw. Now, it's great to be offensive and it's great to be thinking that you can score in the last minute. And if you did get it, let's say Madueke had broken through and then suddenly something opened up for him, he scored a goal. There'd be nobody back in the dressing room saying, oh, we were going for that. You know, I remember one particular incident at Nottingham Forest in a European Cup game when a lad called Colin Barrett made this big run against Liverpool. We're 1-0 up, and the management team are desperate for him to stay put. He keeps running, and they're shouting at him to get back. He scores the goal, and it's, oh, fantastic. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that you know, the game can change, but absolutely, definitely, that Arsenal would have taken the draw there with 5 minutes to go.
Yes.
Is it too simple to say, if you've won the league and been there before, that you know you do that, you feel it, you smell it?
Well, you could say that now when you lose a game like that at that stage of the game. You could say, oh, it's because they haven't done that. But I have to agree with Martin. Naturally, as a forward, if we're getting into that stage of the game when they're putting pressure on, they've just put two forwards on, two offensive, then you naturally know, Steve, that, you know, I'm going to start running into corner flags now. You know, because like a point at Villa at this stage is good. And I think a lot more people will lose points at Villa Park. Of course. Like, it would have been a good one to take. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's, again, you're away from home. You're against the side who are right up alongside you. And this is a very, very important stage of the season. Every game, I suppose, is. But now coming into Christmas, and the last thing you want to do is just surrender that great record that you've had in the circumstance that you've had. Had Villa scored 15 minutes earlier, and you then are desperate to try and get an equaliser yourself, you'd fine, absolutely, change all sorts of plans. But when you're holding on to something then at the end of the day, and you've had a little bit of luck about 10 minutes earlier, take that luck and just run it into the corner. Could
Arsenal have done anything more with the goal? I mean, they put 2 or 3 tremendous blocks in the build-up, didn't they?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I thought it was brilliant defending. I was hoping that someone would clear it, but the way it was going, you know, the way Buendia, you could just see where Buendia is. He just stays in and around it, you know. He has a shot there, you know what I mean? He passes it there, but then he gets up and he's just staying involved, waiting for something scratch. But then that's the composure. Yeah. He's waiting for...
Into the day, and they have now lost. But Aston Villa, 9 wins from 10 and second in the table. Yeah. Do we have to sit up really and take notice now of this team?
Of course we do. Of course we do. And it was astonishing, their start to the season. We couldn't believe it, how flat they looked. But the manager's a great manager and he's gotten back on track. And Villa Park, with this kind of run now, getting them involved in the game. I actually thought Villa might get them a little bit more involved. Arsenal's football was good enough to kind of quieten that a little bit. But they always looked a threat because of the reasons we talked about before the game, at half-time, and we're going to talk about it now. Arsenal's defence was different and stretched.
Before the game, this gentleman to my left, in case you were still asleep at home, said he felt very relaxed, very comfy about this game. Half-time is a little less comfy. How are you feeling now, Lou Dixon?
Not great.
Not great.
Great for Villa. I mean, let's get that right. They played brilliantly today as far as the game plan and everything, and the way they went about that broken up back line, if you like, from Arsenal. And they disappointed me a little bit at the back. I thought they'd be a little bit more structured. If you're going to have players coming in and it's all shaken up because of the best 2 centre-backs are not there, then I would have, I think Arteta maybe got it a little bit wrong. I think maybe I'd have gone, do you know what? Stay as a back four today. And that goes against the grain for him because he's like, no, we're in great form. Let's just put a player in. But they were changing 2 players. One was coming in at centre-half. Wright was playing, hasn't played a lot of football at right back, so it did disjoint it. Calafiori, who's been absolutely amazing, was all over the place today, couldn't get his positioning right, and I think they played too high, the 2 full-backs, and it cost them today. And I think Arteta will look at that and say, maybe we should have just played like that instead of playing like this.
A little bit safer in the way that they
Yeah,
play
because
generally.
they've got enough talent to be able to break a Villa side. And also, if you stay a little bit like that and then draw Villa onto you a little bit at home, the fans would have got behind them and said, no, go and attack. Then there's a few more spaces for Eze. He wasn't in the game in the first half.
Yeah.
So I think they just got it a little bit wrong. I mean, said that, Villa was superb.
Agree with that on Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you know, because if they would have done that, right, and don't win the game, others would have said, well, they should be braver.
4 weeks ago, Aston Villa were 11 points behind Arsenal in the table. At the moment, they're halfway to reducing that gap to just 3 points, 1-0 up at Villa Park at half-time. Another very impressive 45 minutes from your former club, Martin.
I've really enjoyed it. It's been terrific. I think Villa are good value for their lead at the minute. And maybe could have been 2, or Arsenal might have been 2-0 down. But they played strongly. I think that they've had more room in the middle of the field than I thought they would have, you know, because Arsenal can be very, very compact. But they've been able to play through Arsenal, and really impressive. I've got to say, really impressive.
Before we see the goal, you'd seen a warning sign just 8 minutes earlier.
It's the left side's giving me a problem at the moment. Calafiori's coming up and he's going inside. Eze wants to go inside, and I just feel that Matty Cash has got so much space to run into, continue. You could see him there, you know, leaving Eze behind there. And this was a warning. You know, Declan Rice does unbelievably here to block that. But then in this instance, you see Eze, he has a look, he sees him there, but then I think his body, he needs to open his body out a little bit more, because even though it gets a little deflection, he's reacted too late, and then it is too late. You know, Matty Cash can get forward and do it. I just think that our left side is nowhere near as productive as the right at the moment. I think Saka's having to do quite a lot. This is why at some stage we're probably going to see something on the left side. Maybe it's Martinelli, Trossard, I'm not sure. Maybe for me it'd be Martinelli, but that was a massive warning sign to come in the first place.
Lovely finish. 5 goals for club and country, Matty Cash. He seems to be he's got the winner against Manchester City. Now he's scored against Arsenal. He seems to be the big game player at the moment.
He has done very, very well, I must admit. I managed him for a few matches ago.
It's all down to you.
My short... No.
I'm being joking.
No, I know you are. Absolutely the opposite. Everything I said to him, he's done exactly the opposite, and he's come back. So, no, I had him for my 19 games at Nottingham Forest. And you almost felt as if he could be a proper wing-back in that side. Maybe not... I wasn't totally sure about him defensively, but he was a strong runner, very, very strong runner, and I'm delighted he's doing well.
We heard from and talked about Ollie Watkins before the game, and his record against Arsenal with 6 in 10. Yeah. Should he have made that 7?
Yeah, he should have. I think it's a great player. Martin's right. Down the middle, Villa, like here, I know Declan, I think he goes down there, he gets a little knock, so that's why they've got through. But this was good. This is all fantastic play, but it's when you get here, that's where you've got to show the composure. I think he could give the goalie the eyes and just slot it down the left, because when you look at David Raya, as he brings his left foot through, this is where Declan gets injured, that's why John McGinn gets it, but as he brings his left foot through to shoot, Steve, the goalie's already on his way down, and that's where you do that, and then you just open your body out and put it to the left-hand side. So as much as I could say Villa have been they have been worthy of the lead, they should be 2-0 up. Definitely should be 2-0 up.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all. You know, and you're talking about a maestro here who would put the ball in the net anyway. But you would have thought after the 2 goals he scored midweek that you know, just the confidence would be up. And you're absolutely right. You know, if he puts that into the left-hand side, the goalkeeper's never getting it.
But he did, and they have reduced it to 1. But